This 72-year-old wealthy woman is named Quan Runfun, nicknamed Super Nu Shen. Her mindset is incredibly tough. Even when she was kidnapped, she was afraid the kidnappers would get lost, so she personally used her phone to navigate for them. Worried they wouldn't get the ransom, she helped them devise a detailed extortion plan. Afraid the kidnappers would get caught by the police, she taught them how to conduct anti-surveillance measures. Are the kidnappers just too incompetent, or is Super Nu Shen too heroic? The story begins a few days ago. Mr. Cao is not only worth billions but also owns a small restaurant that mainly sells noodles. The place is always packed. One day, 3 men came to eat there. They were considering what to do without money. Seeing Mr. Cao's business thriving, they figured he must have plenty of cash on hand. So they planned to make a move. While Mr. Cao was taking his granddaughter to visit a grave, the 3 men quietly followed in a car. Baji went over to subdue Mr. Cao, while Monkey and Little Mouse went to deal with his granddaughter. Mr. Cao thought they were up to something good, but when he took out an electric saw, Baji was so startled he almost ran away. Just then, Mr. Cao returned to reinforce his position. Unexpectedly, he accidentally shocked Baji awake. Then Mr. Cao disappeared in a flash. Things weren't going well on the granddaughter's side either. After getting up from the ground, she first delivered a low kick and then a hook punch, making Monkey suffer. The awakened Baji tried to track Mr. Cao, but he was long gone. Finally spotting a hat, it turned out to be a nest of wasps, thousands of them. The wasps chased Baji, forcing him to jump into the water. Meanwhile, the clown wasn't doing much better, tripping and rolling down the mountain. The granddaughter, while escaping, accidentally fell and was caught by the pursuing monkey. The awakened clown saw Mr. Cao's figure and wanted to catch him but got hit again. After all, Mr. Cao is 72 years old and no longer young. In the end, he was subdued by the clown. Then they were all stuffed into a car. Mr. Cao scolded them for being so boastful, bullying 2 weak women just for some money. You call us weak women? Look at what you've done to us. At this point, Mr. Cao's habit of worrying kicked in again. He started saying, "You 3 are kidnapping 2 people, clearly not professionals. Kidnapping 2 means you need double the food and energy. You might as well let my granddaughter go and keep me." The kidnappers felt he made a lot of sense. Originally planned to rescue his granddaughter into the hiding place, but there was no shovel on the field to help, so he had to use a pile of leaves instead. During the process of moving forward, the kidnappers got lost, so Mr. Cao had to take out his phone to help them navigate. After a long time of fussing around, Mr. Cao felt sorry for them and took out the lunch he had prepared in his bag. When it was time to eat, everyone sat down and started chatting. The kidnappers took Mr. Cao as a hostage, while Mr. Cao treated the kidnappers like his grandsons. Because the kidnappers were the same age as his grandson, Mr. Cao showed concern by applying some ointment on the kidnapper's face to reduce the swelling from the wasp sting earlier. At this moment, he noticed the marks on the kidnapper's neck, and the kidnapper had to reveal the reason. He was originally a farmer from the countryside but was pressured by his mother to get married every day. He originally planned to go to Vietnam to buy a bride, but unexpectedly, all his money was embezzled by unscrupulous agents. With no way out, he reluctantly chose to commit suicide. The man was kicking his legs while hanging, when suddenly his phone started ringing loudly. In a panic, he grabbed the rope with one hand and reached for his phone with the other. It turned out to be a friend calling to chat and meet up. It turned out that the friend's wife was in jail, but their child was about to be born, and the prison required a 100,000 deposit to release her. The man next to him was the friend's brother-in-law, and the 3 of them, all short on money, set their sights on Mr. Cao. Seeing how pitiful they were, Mr. Cao told them that the direction they were heading was not good, as his adopted son was the director there, and he once single-handedly took on 18 people. On the other side, the rescued granddaughter called the police. Upon hearing that his adoptive mother was kidnapped, the director decided to personally lead the team to rescue her. At 38, they were tied up in an abandoned classroom and took out the blueprints to start their extortion plan. First, they called the eldest son. The eldest son was busy campaigning for votes, and when he heard his mother was kidnapped, he thought it was a joke, assuming it was a trick by his mother to get him to come home. Then, the eldest son directly hung up the phone. "You should call my eldest daughter. She does business and should have time." Little did they know, the eldest daughter was playing golf. "I'm in the middle of a big business deal. For the kidnapping, you should find my big brother. He should be responsible for this kind of thing." Then, the eldest daughter shouted, "Nice shot." After hanging up the phone, they realized they couldn't rely on their 2 children. So, they called their youngest daughter. She was busy driving, and although she answered, she just kept saying, "Uh-huh," and didn't have time to talk. Then they called their youngest son. He was busy gambling and didn't have time to respond. Meanwhile, the kidnappers were baffled. What kind of kids are these? Mr. Cao shivered in disappointment. The kidnappers were even more at a loss. They hadn't gotten a penny from the kidnapping and ended up with an old lady on their hands. At this point, Cao Shin spoke up, saying, "I raised them with so much effort, and even when I'm kidnapped, none of them show any concern." "I'll help you get the ransom," she said to the kidnappers. They couldn't believe their ears, but having no better option, they chose to trust her. That night, the SWAT team surrounded the classroom, threw in a smoke bomb, and rushed in, only to find a cell phone. This scene was witnessed by a few people. "Now you see how capable my children are." The kidnappers completely believed Cao Xin's words. Then, Cao Xin took them to Yang Nu's place. She said her daughter, Xiao Fairy, was gentle, beautiful, and lovely. But when Xiao Fairy stepped out of the room, the three were terrified. They dashed back to the car, insisting they had to leave. However, Xiao Fairy, being hospitable, flipped the car over to get them out quickly. She even prepared a lavish dinner for them, with the condition that they must finish it all. What was a bowl to Xiao Fairy was a basin to them, yet, the three dared not complain. The next day, the kidnappers tried to flip the car to escape, but even with all their might, it wouldn't budge. Then Xiao Fairy came over and easily righted the car for them. Seeing Xiao Fairy's adorable demeanor, the kidnappers felt like they were in love. They insisted on helping her plow the fields, claiming that since her birth, the village hadn't needed to keep cattle. In the end, they pulled for ages without moving an inch. "Now I know why your village doesn't keep cattle. You must have bragged them to death." Finally, Xiao Fairy stepped forward. To their surprise, she moved as if flying, and the kidnappers had to run to keep up. In the joyful cooperation of the two, thousands of acres of land were all settled in one day. Mr. Cao asked the kidnappers how much they wanted, and they ruthlessly quoted 250,000. Mr. Cao shook his head in anger. The kidnappers quickly said, "If you think that's too much, we can consider lowering the price a bit." Mr. Cao said, "At least 500 million, otherwise he feels he would lose face." Under Mr. Cao's careful arrangement, they filmed a professional ransom video and sent it to all the TV stations. Since they used a dynamic IP, the police had no way to locate or track them. The chief brought 4 children to the station to respond. "The amount you're asking for is a bit high. We need to first confirm the status of the control room." The control room immediately executed Plan B, having the police prepare a live broadcast vehicle to drive on the highway, waiting. To catch the kidnappers in one fell swoop, the chief dispatched all the police force to follow the broadcast vehicle. Then, the kidnappers disguised themselves, went to the station, put blindfolds on the staff, and drove away with the broadcast vehicle. The vehicle arrived deep in the mountains, and when the broadcast started, although the police quickly determined the location, all the police force was on the highway. The participant said to the camera, "Don't raise money to save me, don't sell the family's land and trees, and don't sell your company shares or the eldest son's campaign funds, just let me die here." Now everyone knew that the 4 children had money. If they don't save him, then in the future, they really won't be able to get by. After some calculations, the butler found that the family's land and trees, the 2 daughters' bonds, plus the eldest son's campaign funds, could just make up 500 million. They packed the money into a container. The container was loaded onto a train. This train had 9 stops in the middle, plus the start and end points, making a total of 11 places. The police set up a dragnet again, not only arranging plainclothes officers at all 11 stops but also having vehicles follow along the way. Unexpectedly, after the train passed the 5th stop, it directly switched routes. When Chief Zheng planned to have them switch back, they received a call from the kidnappers. First, no stopping. Second, no changing routes, otherwise they couldn't guarantee the safety of the hostages. The chief had to drive to chase them, but before they got far, there was a roadblock ahead. They quickly switched to a helicopter, and the train followed the tracks into the mountains, gradually entering a high-altitude area where the surrounding fog became increasingly severe. The helicopter was no longer visible, and the 3 quietly arrived. On the train, they used a jack to lift the container in front and threw it directly into the river below from the bridge. When the train emerged from the tunnel, everything looked normal from the helicopter. It wasn't until they reached the destination that they discovered the container had turned into an inflatable castle and the goods were long gone. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mr. Cao had already loaded all the money onto the boat and had the butler set sail. When the 3 kidnappers arrived, Mr. Cao took out 250,000. "This is the money you wanted." However, Mr. Cao was still concerned about their survival, so he gave them his cooking recipes. The director discovered Mr. Cao's secret. Mr. Cao explained that his intention was to teach the 4 children a good lesson. As for the money, it will be used in the future to help elderly people without homes or shelter. Under the careful management of the 4 children, the noodle shop was about to go bankrupt. Meanwhile, the kidnappers opened a noodle shop across the street, and business was booming. The kidnappers also found true love. From then on, they lived a shamelessly happy life. The movie, The Great Japanese Lady Kidnapping Incident, ends here. This movie tells us that being a kidnapper is not easy. It requires high intelligence. Alright, if you want to see more great movie reviews, please follow me. Bye bye.
Yeah.